You're waking up tired, if you're waking up completely exhausted emotionally, mentally, physically, then I want you to know that you're in the right place. And stick with me because in a little bit, I am going to guide you through a technique that's going to help you bridge the gap between the parent that you want to be and the parts of you that are feeling stuck and overwhelmed. We're going to bring those two pieces into alignment to help this journey to conscious parenting to be less exhausting and not working against you. Because all of the parts, when all of the parts are feeling seen, included, heard, that's when the real transformation begins. I'm Julie Cornish, and this is the Rewired Parent, a space for transforming your parenting from the inside out. Today, we're going to dive into the real reason you feel exhausted and drained. And it's not just because your epic to-do list. Most of what we do every day runs on autopilot based on old patterns, habits, beliefs, and memories. So all of these are stored in our subconscious. We don't have to make every decision and relearn everything every day. And that's by design. Our brain is meant to run efficiently. Our brain makes up 2% of our body mass, but it uses 20% of the energy. So it needs to be efficient. It is wired to save energy. That helps in so many ways, like driving and getting our normal daily activities done and accomplished. What happens when you're trying to do something new, like parenting differently, parenting more consciously and intentionally, and not just from that subconscious mind that's inherited, pre-programmed, where you're reacting and not just responding. When we start to parent with awareness and response instead of reaction, that's going to take work. We're asking our brain to do something that it isn't programmed to do. It's not a map that we have. We're downloading a new map, so that takes effort and it's a lot of work. And when you're learning something new, when you're creating new habits and patterns, your brain is going to be using even more energy than when it's on that subconscious autopilot. So you can think of it like switching from cruise control into the manual, and maybe we're even driving a stick shift. So it adds that layer of complication, that layer of effort, and that layer of energy being used. And of course, at first, it's totally exhausting. It gets easier as we go along and we get more efficient with it. Be reminded that that effort that you're putting forth is not wasted. You're rewiring your brain. You're creating new pathways with each choice that you make to create a new behavior in your parenting, to stop an old pattern. So every time you do that, you're creating a new path. And while that takes a lot of effort, it is definitely the most worthwhile effort that we can choose as parents. And just as people, it affects our lives in all areas, not just as parents, but in all relationships with our partners or spouses, at work, in our community. However we are, the more engaged and aware that we are, the more fulfilling our life will be. And of course, creating these new patterns and that rewiring of the brain can really be draining and exhausting, but it's a path to freedom, and it's a path to a deeper connection with yourself. It's a path to that inner peace and the kind of parenting that feels aligned and connected. So you're not only doing everything in your normal life, you're not only making the dinner, doing the laundry, going to work, running your kids to soccer, et cetera, insert like a 10 billion tasks that we have to do as parents. But on top of that, you're creating new neural pathways. You're rewiring your brain and you're downloading that new map to the parent that you want to be. And that is massive. And it totally goes unseen. So that makes it feel a little bit less rewarding. But you're creating new beliefs, you're creating new patterns, and you're creating a whole new way of being that didn't exist before. And all of that is so much mental and emotional and energetic labor on top of everything else that you're doing. So most of the time, if not all of the time, you're really not getting credit for all of that work either. And that makes it a little bit, I don't know if less satisfying, but we're definitely programmed to thrive on praise when we're working hard. It makes us want to continue or do more. So if anything, let this be your praise that you're doing amazing, and your children will hopefully thank you when they're adults. But know that your work matters. This work is incredibly hard. You deserve credit and support for it. And I know that most of the time when you're doing that work, you're not getting that credit and support. And I think that that makes that even more difficult. You're not just living and managing the daily chaos of life. You're rewiring, you're blazing a new path, one that your brain is never seen before or never downloaded before. And it takes commitment and it's hard. And there are going to be days that don't go very well. And there are going to be days that it seems easier just to go back to your subconscious way of parenting. And those days are going to be when you don't respond in the way that you wish you had. The days that you end up yelling, the days that you lose your shit because whatever other stress is going on in your life or you didn't sleep very well. And there's going to be layered on top of all of that other stuff on trying to do the work of rewiring your brain, of trying to manage your whole household. And then when you make a mistake or you have a hard day, there's going to be that shame, there's going to be that guilt. And that's just part of it, and it takes energy to manage that shame and guilt, and in that, so important that you find compassion and forgiveness for yourself. It's okay to make a mistake. We go and we apologize to our children. And just a little side note, you'll find in the description I have a parenting workbook. Within that parenting workbook, I have a script for a really solid apology that isn't asking your kid to forgive right away, but it's a space where you can acknowledge your mistake and allow them to kind of process it as they need to. And it helps them to really learn what a real apology is. And surprisingly, not all of us know what an apology is. A lot of the times it comes off as, I'm so sorry I did this, but you did that. It's not an apology. So check out that workbook, and it has that apology script and a lot of other rewiring stuff that can be helpful, managing that shame and guilt and helping your children to do the same. And so we manage that shame and that guilt and that emotional kind of crash when we're not doing well, and acknowledging that that takes a lot of our energy to kind of recover and keep ourselves on track when we have those fails. Every fail is a foundation for a win. It's like 100 fails before we're going to have a win, right? So each time we fail, we apologize, we learn something new, and we stack, and then we have a win on top of that. And I think as a society, we just so rarely acknowledge our wins. We're so much harder on ourselves. We have so much more mental chatter around fails than we do around wins. I think for this process of changing the way that you parent, it would be really beneficial for us to acknowledge our wins, not only for us, but then it models for our children. Everything that we do and change and grow is a model for our children. It is a double win. We get to do it for ourselves. We get to live more fulfilled. Our children get to see that modeled for them, so they don't have to do all of this work when they're adults. They're going to have the roadmap already downloaded, so it's a double win. And so please, please, please take a moment to celebrate your victories when you're able to be emotionally regulated when your child's having a meltdown, when you're able to not start yelling when your children are yelling. So let's celebrate those moments when we are able to support our kids the way that we want to, the way that we want to show up, when we choose that presence over punishment, and we're able to really break the cycle and show up in a really emotional, mature, grown-up way, and it feels empowering and it feels like success. And I just want you to remember, like, maybe you can create a little ritual around that, something that you do to honor yourself. Maybe it's a piece of chocolate, a pat on the back, or maybe you create an affirmation for yourself that you say every time that you have a victory to really reinforce that. And just, don't downplay those moments. Don't rush past them, taking that moment to really honor yourself for kicking ass. And that's going to help reinforce the continued desire to show up even when it gets really difficult. So let me tell you this, what you're doing matters deeply. It matters to your own personal and mental health and happiness, but it matters for your children. It matters that you're showing up as much as possible right now. And just because it's hard and exhausting does not mean that you're doing it wrong. It means you're changing something deep. It means you're doing sacred work, and you're changing patterns that have not only been there through your lifetime, but your parents and all of the lifetimes before that. So of course, it's going to take a long time, and it's going to be a process. And of course, we're all finding it difficult to move forward. But when we have traumas, there are parts that kind of get separated. So we have this part of us that really deeply wants to align with the parent that we want to be. While there are other parts that developed in childhood that are trying to protect us and keeping patterns in place. So I'm going to go through and show you a little process that we can do that can kind of help you align parenting in this conscious manner a little bit less exhausting and a little bit more aligned. And this is a process you can do for anything that you're not feeling in alignment with. I'll guide you through this process. And if you can't do it now because your kids are running around, that's fine too. But we want to just take a moment where we can find a quieter place. So you're just going to find a nice, comfortable place to sit. So you want to have both of your hands out and they can be resting on your lap. It doesn't matter where they are, but you're just having your hands in front of you, kind of open like that. In your right hand or your left hand, doesn't matter. So in one hand, I want you to imagine the part of you that is that really aware, aligned, conscious parent that is living the values and the parent that you know that you can be, the parent that you desire to be in one hand. And in the other hand, I want you to place the part of you that's holding you back. And however that shows up, maybe it's a younger version of yourself, maybe it's a childhood trauma, maybe it's just an old version of yourself. It doesn't really matter. So you're going to gently place that part of you that feels stuck or overwhelmed in one hand, and that part of you, that future version of yourself as a parent that is really aligned and conscious and is a beautifully integrated parent. And what we're going to do in each of those hands, and taking a moment and really honoring that part of you that you feel is holding you back, because that part was never there to hold you back. It was created likely when you were a child, and its intention was to protect you. And while it's no longer protecting you and it's hindering your progress, we can still give gratitude and compassion for the fact that its intention was to protect you. So if you can send a little love to that, I think that is just a kind thing to do. Just gratitude and love to that. And then we're going to take both of our hands, and you have your future part and you have that part that's holding you back, and we're going to kind of place them one in the other like that, and you can place them in your lap and just take in a nice deep breath. And we're going to integrate these two parts, and we're going to ask that these two parts work together. Invite them to begin working together without conflict, but in collaboration, to guide you towards the parent you want to become. Because remember, the intention for both of these parts is to guide you to a beautiful future. And so once you feel those parts are integrated, you can just put your hands back in your lap and take a nice deep breath. And that was it. And remember, again, you can do that process for all types of things. And in one hand, you just take what you're really desiring for the future. And in the other, you're just imagining what's holding your back and then integrating them. And in today's world, it doesn't matter if you're making the effort to parent from that conscious, aware state, or if you're parenting from your subconscious. Parenting is hard either way. And in our current modern world, we don't have a lot of support. Most of us don't get a lot of support from our family, and we don't always reach out to our community. And I would say that was increased after the pandemic, where we're a little bit more isolated than we were before. And of course, that's not true of everybody, but for those individuals who are really feeling that lack of support, I do encourage you to reach out and try to open up that circle of support, whether it's family, it's friends, it's hiring a coach, it's getting a group of moms who want to meet over Zoom, because we all know that actually getting together in person is difficult. So however you find that support, I encourage you to do that and bring your awareness in that when you're finding the right support, you should be leaving that meeting, session, coaching call, whatever it is, feeling really empowered, feeling really uplifted and optimistic. If you find, if you're on a Facebook community, if you're in a group and you're left feeling a little bit anxious, or you're feeling like you're comparing yourself, or you're feeling less than excited or empowered, that may not be the group for you, and that's okay. It might take you a little while to find the right place for yourself, but take the time to find a little bit of support. It's going to help your mental health, and it's going to help you stay on track for the goals that you have around parenting, and the goals that you have around being the parent and the person that you want to be. And just remember, it's important to find what works for you, and you're not alone. There's always support for you. It just, sometimes we have to go out there and find it. Most of the time, we have to go out there and find it. So if you're a parent doing the hard work of reparenting yourself, showing up with awareness, breaking cycles, and doing everything to raise emotionally stable kids, let your exhaustion be a sign of your hard work and dedication to yourself and your family. And no, you're not getting it wrong because you're exhausted. You're doing something beautiful and extraordinary that is going to have ripple effects throughout your life and your children's life, and really throughout the world. And it certainly is hard. Some days it feels like it takes everything you've got to keep showing up and to keep doing the work. And give yourself grace on days where it doesn't work out, where you fall back into old patterns, because it's going to happen. You're not perfect and you're not meant to be perfect. Your kids don't need perfection. They need you exactly how you are, where you keep trying, you keep showing up, and you're real and you're honest and you apologize when you need to. And all of this work, it's so incredibly worth it. It's worth it for your kids. It's worth it for you, for your healing, for your future. So please keep showing up, keep giving yourself compassion, take breaks when you need them, get rest, celebrate the wins. Maybe when you have a really beautiful, great day, you give yourself a bath, or you maybe take a little walk by yourself if you can. For me, my little hacks or habits that I have for myself to ways to keep myself, or to keep myself on track, or whatever words you want to use there. I like to listen to hypnosis. I listen to a hypnosis every night before I go to bed, a sleep hypnosis, and it can be releasing negative beliefs or being more confident or creating the life that you want. So as I'm going to bed, I am brainwashing myself. It's an effortless way to rework your subconscious. And there's 10 million hypnosis videos on YouTube. My favorite is a guy named Michael Seeley, but that's an easy parenting hack, or just life hack, that requires zero effort but makes a big impact and helps you wake up feeling refreshed. If this video resonated with you, please like, subscribe. It helps me out tremendously to have subscribers and have people sharing my videos. If you have something that you would like to comment, maybe a moment of victory in your parenting that you would like to share to honor that win, or maybe it was a moment that was really difficult for you that you overcame and showed compassion for yourself. I love seeing the comments, so please leave a comment. Please like and subscribe. It means a lot to me and it's really helpful. And if you know a parent that could use this, please share with them, because we need to remind all parents that we're not alone, that we are all struggling and growing and putting our best effort forth no matter where we are. And just a gentle reminder again that in the description, you'll find a link to my workbook, the Rewired Parenting Workbook. And it is a beautiful 40-page workbook that can help you come into more alignment with your goals and intentions, as well as some free resources down there for you. Your healing matters, your growth matters, and you matter deeply. Thank you so much for showing up for yourself and your family. And I hope that you have an incredible day. You deserve it.